Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sam Tom here. Don't pay attention to the balloon animals. They're not there for any reason. I'm working on them. Okay? And that's just where they are right now. But we are here today to talk about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And I am going to keep this video spoiler free unless you're one of those people that considers information in the marketing and the trailers and press interviews and general people talking about it. If you consider those spoilers, I got nothing for you. But if you're a normal person who understands that people see trailers and talk about movies, and there are interviews and press junkets and things, people talking about the movie, I'm not going to give away anything that wasn't mentioned in or seen in any of that. I might do another video later going into spoiler territory. I'm missing a light. But that's not what this video is going to be. I have, on multiple occasions, said that my opinion of a movie can be very much influenced by at least two different factors. One of them being other people's opinions on the movie. If people really, really like a movie, then it's more likely that I'm not going to like it. If people really, really hate a movie, it's more likely that I'm going to think it's okay. I have not seen or heard or read anybody else's opinion on this yet, so that is not a factor in this video. But the second factor is my own expectation of it. And sometimes that is fed off of other people's, but sometimes movies just have built-in expectations. This movie, I had a lot of expectations for. There's a lot going on here. You've not only got whatever idiom you want, big shoes to fill, heavy weight on your shoulders, a great burden to bear, whatever you want to say. You've got the real life repercussions of the loss of Chadwick Boseman, dealing with that not only in the real life, but then in the story, which, like, Fast and Furious hasn't even done that, and that's been years and years and years. But dealing with the loss of Chadwick Boseman, and the loss of T'Challa, and the loss of the Black Panther, and the loss of the the heart-shaped herb, there's a lot going on there, and you've got to deal with that, and you've got to make it stand on its own. You've got a Black Panther movie that largely has no Black Panther, right? So much so that they have to obscure who it is in the trailer. On top of all that, you've got the press coverage and reactions to, and the whole story about Letitia Wright and her behavior and her I'm struggling to choose a correct but not controversial word, but her actions and activity during COVID restrictions and all of that, which, whether you agree with her or not, puts bad press on this movie. Then, in addition to all of that, you've got Namor showing up in the trailers. Been hinted at in the MCU for a long time, but, like, you guys gotta understand, Namor goes back to Marvel Comics #1, right? And unlike some of the other characters from that long ago, is still relevant in modern comics, right? It's not like the Angel that is not seen anymore. It's not like the Human Torch, which has another character named after him used, and, like, I don't know, his body is sometimes Wonder Man or something like that. Vision's involved in there somehow. I don't even know. But, like, Namor's just still Namor, right? And he goes back as far as Marvel Comics do. There is not a character in Marvel Comics with more publication history than Namor. And you're bringing that character in, and it's not even his own movie. So you got to fit that in with all this other stuff. But then, to make that even more difficult, you're not doing traditional Namor. You're not doing Atlantis, right? And all this kind of stuff, which, like, some people are going to be upset about. I'm not, because Atlantis isn't a real place, so the representation there doesn't matter. So what they're doing here with their representation of Aztec culture, I don't even know, but like that's arguably more important if you care about uh, representation. There are going to be people that are upset that it's not Atlantis because people want things to be just like the comics, even though movies aren't comics. But like, first of all, in the original Namor comics, he lived in like the Antarctic, the South Pole, and like that's not how it is in the Silver Age. So people are okay with the changes that they grew up with. Some people just don't like changes after that. So you got to deal with all that, and then like add to that. So you're mixing this comic book culture, fictional culture, blending it with like real world culture and mythology, at least to an extent. And then like you also got to differentiate him from Aquaman, and it's like, yeah, this is one of the few Marvel DC characters that are basically the same that Marvel did first. They don't have a lot of them, but it's like Aquaman was in the movies first, and in the well, public eye, that's kind of the only thing that matters, right? Most people don't read the comics. So changing that culture, I think, helps to differentiate him from Aquaman. Not doing Atlantis, I think, helps to differentiate him from Aquaman. Doing the wings, man, they did the wings like full on, like not hiding it, not trying to obscure, like flapping tiny. I loved it so much. All that helps to separate him from Aquaman, which I think is extremely important. Just in terms of like pop culture awareness, right? He's hardly at all like Aquaman. It's just that they are both, water-based characters and kings. But the I don't even know what they're called. I want to call them the Atlanteans, but that's not what they are. But his people in this movie are portrayed very, very differently than Aquaman's people in the DCU. Did they change what that's called in the DC movies? On top of all of that, you've got Riri Williams, Ironheart, coming in as a new character. And she's, not that they're saying she's going to be a major focus, but she is getting her own series. So it's like you got to get people introduced to her because she's a newer comic character. So like we've got the challenges of the oldest Marvel Comics characters that we have combined with the, other Silver Age characters, Black Panther's extended cast, right? But without Black Panther. And then add to that modern comics characters that people like me who read mostly Silver Age comics aren't familiar with from the comics. So a lot of legwork that this movie is doing. Plus, continuing on the story threads from previous movies, not just Black Panther 1, but the Infinity War movies, Endgame, the Infinity War movies, the Avengers movies, Infinity War and Endgame, and tying into other projects and setting up future projects, including Ironheart, but not limited to Ironheart, but I'm not talking about that now. Suffice it to say, the expectations for this movie, having to deal with all of that, were very, very high, in my opinion. And in my opinion, it pretty much nailed all of those. Right? If I didn't give it away with my reaction to... I love the wings. I've been reading a lot of Namor comics the last couple weeks to hype myself up, which I knew this was not going to be a direct translation from the comics. So it's not like that's why. It's just like I want to get hyped for Namor and get an idea of someone's going to say that's a spoiler, so I'm not going to talk about it, but there was a line that was said that I was waiting the whole movie that I was like, man, if they don't say that line, I'm kind of going to feel that. And then they say it, and I'm like, ah! Yeah! Anyway, I think they nailed it. Okay? Now, the movie's not flawless, and in my spoiler video that I will almost certainly do, I'm definitely going to see this again. I'll go into more of that, but like, again, the first Black Panther, a lot of people talked really, really highly of it, and I like, to me, and I don't choose to be this way, I don't like that I'm this way, I just am, but to me, I'm just like, but the war rhinos were stupid, right? But that train fight underground was stupid, right? But having two people with the same suit again as the third act final, that's stupid, right? So like I focus on the negative things, and like again, there are flaws in this movie. It's not perfect, but like these big, easy to point at things are not present. There's nothing stupid like more rhinos in here. There's like really cool stuff like I'm pretty sure it's in the trailer. I don't know. Like, there's cool stuff with animals, but it's not as dumb as the war rhinos. The uh, final fight is not just the same suit hitting itself, and there's no weird train fight where you're just, what is it, Phantom Menace style, just walking back and forth waiting for the shield to go down. So like the big flaws not there. Like my biggest complaint is that there's like kind of a big exposition scene, but it's like I only noticed like one, and it was helped along by having flashbacks, and it's like it's you gotta do it. So like I don't begrudge them for doing it. It's just like that is not the greatest thing. Speaking of like exposition and like pacing stuff though, this is a long movie. To me, did not feel long at all, right? And like I went to see this after a day of work, right? End of the day, going in, and like my biggest feeling, my biggest concern was like, I hope it's not over already. Because there would be things that would happen and scenes that would happen and plot points that would happen that were like big deals. And like in some movies, those would be the end, you know? And my phone was sitting in the cup holder so I could see the clock. So it's not like I was like checking my clock because I felt that it was taking long. It was just like, don't tell me it's already over. And like, it wasn't. It probably my biggest complaint is that I wish this were more movies, right? Which to me is like probably actually a good thing, right? Because the movie did not drag at all for me. There was something that at one point in the movie I thought I was going to be disappointed that I didn't get more of, but then I got more of it later in the movie, so I probably still would have enjoyed a whole movie of that, but what I got after that initial taste was, I would say, sufficient. I'm like losing my train of thought here. But like, I really thought it nailed everything that it needed to nail. The flaws are minimal. The other like big thing I noticed was just like what I see as inconsistency with vibranium tech, but like it's magic metal, so there's probably some comic booky explanation for the issues that I had. Not the biggest deal, and it's like one of those things where even if they had done what I would expect to happen, it's not like that would have changed the narrative. It wouldn't have changed the plot. It would have just kind of changed some of the visuals and the action scenes. So it doesn't affect the overall story, so it doesn't bother me that much. I gotta like calm down. Letitia Wright, again, agree or disagree with her politically, personally, whatever. I thought she really brought it in this movie. She had to carry a lot of the emotional weight of it, and I felt it, man. I was like welling up in the movie theater, which doesn't happen to me very often. I cannot... Angela Bassett, I never remember her name. Is that her name, Angela Bassett? Queen Ramonda, again, like, we all know she's great and she's capable of that, but like, again, like, she nailed it. Exactly what she needed to do. Is Winston Duke the name of the actor that plays M'Baku? Not as big of a role, but like what he needs to do, he nails it. Like everyone's just nailing their roles. I don't know the name of the actor that plays Namor. I should. I apologize. But like Namor very much in the comics is not a straight villain and not a straight hero. And like he nails it. And like when he switches from like, oh, good, compassionate guy, like again, I don't think this is a spoiler because it's his character, right? That's who he is. When he switches from like good, helpful, caring, kind king to terrifying, threatening, violent warrior, like he sells both of those, and you buy it and you believe it. Again, I'm speaking personally. I can't speak for anybody else, but like to me, it totally worked. I would have liked for, again, I'm gonna call them the Atlanteans because I don't know what they're called in the movie. I'm sorry. I would have liked for them, the supporting cast of those, to be kind of fleshed out a little bit more, but I'm hoping that Namor's going to get his own project, and it makes sense that that would happen there, not in a Black Panther movie. But just, I hope I'm not alone in this. I hope people like this. As I said, it ties into other ongoing projects and sets up some other ongoing projects. I think between this and something else that happened in a fairly recent MCU property, I think I need to do a follow-up to one of my Prezi Google Docs style videos, because there's now more to say, and not to pat myself on the back too much, but like more evidence for the points that I was making. So that'll be interesting to go back into. But like at this point, I'm just gonna rant and not rant. Sorry, I'm just gonna ramble while trying to avoid spoilers. So I think I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna try to get to this again this weekend, and I will probably put up another video. If not by next week, then during next week. After I've had a chance to absorb it, hear what other people have to say. I did not rewatch the first Black Panther before this. I had planned on it, and I was like also going back and forth between like, should I watch, everything with Black Panther, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, all that stuff. And I didn't, because I was just like, I want to see this movie on its own. I've got a pretty good understanding of what happens in those movies. I've seen them all multiple times. So now that I've seen it on its own, without all of that build up, now I think I might go back and rewatch at least some of those before going in the second time. Because I find that oftentimes, you'll catch stuff in the old movies after seeing the new movies. So trying it this way. I don't usually do it this way, but trying it out. But I'm going to call it there. If you've seen it before, let me know your feelings toward it. Try to be mindful of spoilers in the comments. We'll have that spoiler video later on. But let me know if you agree with me, disagree with me. Did you have as high expectations for this as I did or not? Did it live up to your expectations or not? Are you one of those people that's upset that Namor isn't who he is in the comics? Because, doesn't really matter, does it? His character, his role, his identity is the same. He just, is more Latino. I don't think that's a problem. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. I'm tired. About to go to bed. So, thank you very much for watching. Have a good day. Can you tell what this is? Some of these I use instructions for, and some of them I just tried winging it. This is not a skill I have acquired yet. Have a good day.